Hey guys, what's going on? This is NGS. Welcome back to another video. Welcome to my wrap-up of Sony's E3 2014 press conference. I already know what you're going to say, but don't say it. I think I've cried enough on the inside because the lack of consistency on this channel is too damn high. Anyway, that shadow dough. So Sony's press conference just got done not too long ago. According to the time it's recording, it's been like, what, 2 weeks since their conference? 2 weeks. Imaginary watch. Ballin'. So it's given me a lot of time to think about, formulate, speculate opinions, and give my thoughts on the subject matter at hand. Now, overall, I think the theme of this E3 can be summed up as such. You know, a lot of people, I think, had their expectations a bit too high this year. You know, in the cases when a new system is announced, the first E3 after the console is out is really hit or miss. Either the company's going to come out strong with nothing but exclusive support coming out that year and early into the next year, or the company's going to rely heavily on third-party support and then talk about their exclusives that are coming out into next year and the years beyond that. And I think it was interesting because for both Sony and Microsoft, they were both polar opposites. And my webcam is doing that weird autofocus thing. Thank you! Man, this voice command is awesome! It's not really even a voice command. My bad. Sidetrack. What did I tell you? I think that in the case of Sony this time around, they didn't really focus too much on exclusives that were coming out in the coming months because simply they have no exclusives coming out in the next couple of months. They focused a lot on third-party support coming out this fall. They focused a lot on indie support. They focused a lot on PlayStation console exclusive, timed exclusive stuff, as opposed to exclusives coming out in the following months. Because, let's be honest, Sony this fall really doesn't have too much in the exclusive department for games on PlayStation 4. Sony's really relying this time around on third-party support and the exclusive content you're getting out of the third-party multiplats. They're relying on PlayStation Plus and a lot of the cool freebies that you're going to be able to get. And of course, they're relying on the hype that they're generating in 2015. That's what Sony's conference was this year. And overall, as a PlayStation gamer, as a person who's a multi-platform owner, I thought that their conference was rather solid because of the stuff that's coming out. I was disappointed at a lot of things that I saw in the conference. I thought they were going to do things differently, but whatever, we'll get to that point when we cross that bridge. So I'm not going to go through over all this stuff because it was a 2-hour long press conference and that's way too much stuff. I'm just going to highlight some of the stuff that I thought was interesting, nifty, and I'll talk about the stuff that I just thought was flat out disappointing. So let's talk about some of the highlights. Of course, with the third-party support, stuff like Far Cry 4, stuff like Dead Island 2 being announced, stuff like Magicka 2. There was a lot of focus on the developers this time around, and of course, with Sony, the exclusive content that you're going to get on there. So of course, you're going to be getting a lot of exclusive content, varying via the games, of course. But one of the interesting things that I thought was great was Far Cry 4. Apparently, on PlayStation systems, if you own Far Cry 4, your friend can jump into a co-op game without even owning the game. I thought that was pretty awesome. I don't know how in the world that's going to work. It reminded me a lot of the stuff that you were able to do on the Nintendo DS, like I think it was the DS download play. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that that was pretty interesting. And, I mean, the stuff that you have going on for PlayStation Network, seeing a lot of the indie support being a main focus, seeing a lot of, you know, the PlayStation console exclusive stuff coming over for PC. I think that's enticing a lot of people out there. They definitely focus a lot more on the things that people, I guess, were telling them to focus on. They're saying, you know, we want more focus on niche titles. We want more focus on things that aren't Call of Duty. We want more focus on not annual franchises. And both Sony and Microsoft focused on that greatly, which is something that I like both of them, that I like that they did. So that was awesome. We saw a lot of cool stuff about Entwined, a game that was announced at the conference and then said, hey, it's available right now. Go get it. Boom! We saw a lot of stuff on No Man's Sky, which is a game I'm looking forward to greatly. And we just saw, in general, a lot of interesting stuff on indie stuff, which I really do enjoy. But then, of course, there were a couple of things that I really did not like that Sony did. First and foremost, the pacing for this conference was really good at first, but then it kind of took a nosedive into the crapper once they started talking about entertainment. Now, I get that the E3 press conferences are, you know, to some extent a business event. I understand that completely. But you kind of have to know your audience that you're focusing. You know that these are primarily gamers who care nothing about nothing but video games, you know? So why in the world would you go on there and spend this time talking about this freaking Powers comic book TV series that you're doing with Brian Michael Bendis? Nobody cares about that at this conference, okay? Nobody seriously does, all right? The stuff you're doing with your TV services, that stuff is great. It's awesome. Good for you. Expanding, all that cool stuff. But, you know, really, what relevance does it have? I mean, you could say, yeah, it's, you know, probably going to have a game or something built on it or whatever, but it was unnecessary. It was boring. You saw a lot of people just like, why is this here? That just kind of killed the entire vibe of the conference. What they should have done is, and what they should do going forward is, if you're going to talk about TV and movies and stuff, focuses on something that actually matters, which is what they did with Ratchet & Clank. They showed a new trailer for the upcoming movie that's coming out. Ratchet & Clank is a franchise that Sony owns. Promoting a movie based on a franchise they own is smart. It will get people they will get butts in theaters. And of course, announcing a new game based off the movie is something that people care about. Talking about Powers that has no relevance whatsoever, like, I don't care that PlayStation Plus owners are getting it for free. It has about as much relevance at this conference as stuff like The Tester did or whatever. Really, no one cared about that. No one really did. But, you know, outside of that, they talked about things like PlayStation Now, which I'm still very skeptical about, but the open beta for that starts next month. They talked about PlayStation TV, which is essentially PlayStation Vita, but on the big screen. You have a little console that is going to be able to play PlayStation Vita games. It's going to be able to stream PlayStation 4 stuff, and it's going to be able to stream PlayStation Now content. This has the potential to be a monumental seller. It can be really big depending on how Sony markets it. Because think about this right now. It's PlayStation Vita games. You can remote play PlayStation 4. You can stream PlayStation Now stuff, and it's only $100. Like, that can be huge if Sony markets it correctly. Sadly, what I'm thinking is that they're really not going to, and this thing is just going to come out there. A couple people will buy it, they'll love it, and then it's just like, go away, man. So, you know, a lot of the stuff they had there was interesting, but I just really was not feeling, you know, the lack of support in 2014 as far as the exclusives are concerned. I understand that they have a shit ton of exclusive support already confirmed for 2015. There's no speculating like with the Wii U, oh, well, maybe we'll get this game, maybe we'll get that game. But this fall, all that's really there for exclusives, main retail exclusives, is Drive Club, which really I don't think anybody cares about. You know, they have Little Big Planet 3, which is great, but that's also available on PS3. Now, I don't know where the audience will gravitate to, if they're going to buy it on PS3, if they're going to buy it on PS4, who's to say? I love the idea of Little Big Planet 3. That looks fantastic. I mean, all the new stuff that they're doing, new ways to play in something. It's always creative. It's always new stuff with Little Big Planet. So I think that's great. If I ever do pick it up, it'll be on PS4. But really, like, is the audience going to be there to be like, oh my god, yes, we got to buy this on PS4. I need a reason to own PS4 this fall. Because there really isn't a reason to own PS4 this fall unless you like your third-party support. If you love your third-party support, you're getting a shit ton this year with games like Dragon Age Inquisition, with games like Far Cry 4. You know, the list goes on and on of stuff coming out this year. But as far as exclusives go, unless you're really into playing, you know, PlayStation Network titles, there's really nothing coming out this fall for the PS4, which was kind of disappointing. But again, with these new systems, you kind of have to go into these conferences with a grain of salt that, hey, you know, next year is when you're going to be getting all the support. So I guess people are going to be playing the PlayStation exclusive waiting game, you know, not the PlayStation waiting game with no games. You're going to have games, but, you know, if you want exclusives that test the boundaries of the hardware, there's really nothing there right now for PlayStation 4. So I guess that's the best way I can sum up this conference. It had a lot of good stuff if you're a PlayStation gamer, but if you're looking to play like PlayStation exclusives this fall that aren't PSN titles, there's really nothing for you. Another thing that I was also greatly disappointed on was the PlayStation Vita, but that's a video I'm going to talk about at another time, the whole PlayStation ecosystem and all that stuff. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. What do you think about the Sony press conference? I thought a lot of the stuff there was really cool. But again, it's not 2014, it's 2015. 2015 is guaranteed to be great, but it's still like, you get what I'm saying. I'm NGS signing out, and like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace.